Welcome to the Just Jim radio show. Here today, enjoying the beauty of nature all around us and all that life has to hold and offer. Our show is designed to offer inspiration, information, education, an opportunity to connect and recognize and realize who we are and how we can be, and to definitely have a little bit of fun. We do that with conversations, interviews, and sometimes discussions about various topics that can make a difference in everybody's life. Today I've got RANIE Brothers here with me, a mom, a wife, a caregiver. She and her husband adopted a beautiful girl from China 18 years ago. Her daughter Dharma has recently gone off to UCF. RANIE's enrolled in Everglade University in the alternative medicine program, very interesting program. Recently discovered that depression and anxiety play a big role in her life. Some positive influences on RANIE's life are books from Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, Oprah, the Sarasota Center of Light. She attends classes there, a spiritual healer there, and finds the Wednesday night healing and intention service keeps her moving forward in her life. There are intention slips filled out there, and she's learned to be careful what you ask for, because one intention she put out to the universe was to be a great tool in the healing world, healing the world, and by helping others, and she's healing herself. Meditation plays a big part in her life, and she's recently started to get in touch with her guides and teachers through meditation. This idea was given to her through a recent medium class at Sarasota Center of Light. Welcome, RANIE. Glad you're here with us.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be here too.
Well, it's a beautiful day, and we're here to talk about conscious creation through intention.
Ooh.
Wow, that's quite a mouthful, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
We'll try to break it down a little bit and have a little fun with it and see where that takes us. The new year starting, many of us are looking at a way to create something different. You know, we're living lives, and everybody, it seems like all around the world, as the new year comes in and the year ends, we're always looking for some of the things that we want to make a difference or change within the year coming up in 2020. What are some of the things you're looking at changing this year?
Well, I want to learn more about my depression and anxiety and kind of get that under control for sure. I definitely want to create a home that has an environment that I really love and want to be at. That's not something I have at the moment, but that's something I want to create greatly. And I want to keep growing in my education as far as healing people and either spiritual healing or alternative medicine healing.
Well, it's a lot. I've been listening to some of the classes you've been going to and the things that you've been studying, and it's quite fascinating to hear how both what you're doing as a healer at Sarasota Center of Light and then the alternative medicine program is adding to that. It's really broadening the spectrum of how you see things, and I'm sure will play a role in your own progress with what you want to do for yourself and with helping others.
Absolutely. It kind of makes gives me an avenue to take the spiritual healing into a physical world kind of thing. So yes, it will help a lot.
And that's an important piece of the puzzle. I mean, that's one of the reasons why this show is called Just Jim. We certainly bring inspiration and even spiritual concepts into play, and yet it's so important to be able to take them practically into our lives and be able to make a difference, right at home or at work or in the world.
Absolutely, yes.
And so intentions are a great way to get started towards creating something, and yet intentions we hear about a lot. In fact, if you think about the word intention, it almost sounds like you're pretending or hoping, but we're talking about it from a conscious creation point of view today. It takes intention to a completely different level. And so we're going to talk a little bit about intentions to start with.
Okay.
They can be created in two different ways. I like to use, when we use our mind, the word mindfully, and when we use our awareness or consciousness consciously. So we can either use our mind and what we understand and what we know. And if we do that, if we use what we already know and what we already understand and apply it, we're basically going to get the same results because nothing's really changed. We're going back to what we've already done to see how we can do it again, maybe hopefully a little bit better. When we're using our awareness to consciously create intentions, It helps you to be aware, that quote unquote be aware, meaning you're paying attention to it in a completely different way. And as a result of not being stuck with what you already know or understand, you're able to see things you haven't been able to see before. This
True.
is the this is the beginning of accessing our own inner knowing or intuition. For those who are listening or listeners, inner knowing, intuition, it's what you say to yourself when you ask yourself a question, possibly coming from your memory or from your history, but it's inspired from within you by your connection to who you are or to what you believe. And I know in conversations that we've had, you use meditation regularly to become aware, get beyond your mind, and experience yourself differently in your life. Tell us about your experience becoming more aware using meditation and how that's made a difference for you.
Well, actually, without the meditation, I wasn't making any progress. It gives me a chance to step out of the physical world and and be in a quiet place, a quiet environment, and to just take questions that I have to spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, and just wait and see how I feel or what kind of answers I get back. So before, when I was trying to all do it from the ego side, I was just, like you said, getting the same results over and over because you were just trying to polish up that rock that you already had. And the rock was what you wanted to get rid of, really, but you were kept polishing it and polishing it. So um, that's how, I mean, a lot of my growth has come through meditation.
Well, and it's hard to get that rock polished to look different than it always has, isn't it?
That's right.
They're pretty stubborn when it comes to that. So meditation in this time in the quiet and as you said, away from the physical, we have our lives that we live out there in those circumstances and situations always. And the meditation or contemplation or introspection, just being quiet, gives you a chance to connect in a completely different way to yourself, to guidance, to inspiration. How has this made a difference for you?
Well, it helps release. First of all, I'm one to quick to anger, so it helps release some of the anger by taking it to a quiet place like that. Um, it just, I don't know, just gives you a whole different perspective on everything just by being still. If you can be still and just like what it says, be still and know that I am God. If you can do that, it really makes miracles happen in your life.
Wow. That's part of what we're going to be talking about here is ways to take that connection, that awareness, that uh, inner knowing that we're able to get in touch with and take it into action because, it's wonderful to experience it within, but you've got to be able to take it into the real world like we were talking about a little while ago and make something happen. And when you're in that meditative place, you said be still. So often I talk to people about meditation, and the one thing that frightens people or has a difficulty for people with meditation more than anything else is I can't make my mind be quiet. I can't shut things off. And so it's important to recognize and let our listeners know that stopping and like paying attention or connecting within is really about just paying attention to what's happening there, not having to stop everything. It's getting in touch with what's going on. And as you do more and more often, it does become more calm. It does become more quiet. But it's
I
a
agree with
chance.
that. I,
Yeah.
I
So it's
I think a lot of times people just can't say they can't sit still either. And I think that's a big problem in America that we need to learn that we can just sit still and not do something other than just let our minds just be what they are.
when I say to people, if you can sit still for 10 minutes, you've meditated. It doesn't matter what
Exactly.
goes on. It's that first physical you have to get relaxed. Then you start turning in and are able to be more aware, and then it becomes more calm and relaxed. Almost like a spiritual exercise, like going to the spiritual gym and doing a little bit of connecting within to be able to get in touch with who you are. And that helps us to come from a more aware or conscious place. We use these terms, and yet it's simply not looking outside, but looking within. And from that connection, be able to choose differently. I like to think not what you want to do or have, but what you want to be and what you want to create. And therefore, here we are in this idea of conscious creation through intention. You step beyond what is into what is possible. And I know we've had some conversations where you've had some things come up where you're trying to understand what to do, and then you get in touch with what you really would like to have done, and this is where the intention comes into place. And so what are some of the things you've consciously chosen that has allowed for you to step beyond where you've been towards a new you? You've spoken about some of the challenges you're meeting and some of the desires that you have, and I know you've moved through many different phases of being aware, making a choice, and taking steps. What are some of those things that have happened for you?
Well, when I became aware that I just wanted to learn more about just alternative medicine things in general, I mean, I had done some studying on my own on the internet and stuff on a couple of things like traditional Chinese medicine or acupuncture, but I just wanted to be in a classroom and hear other ideas and how a professional would bring all that together for me. And but I was always nervous about it because of, time and money, and was I'm older and I don't know computers, all these things that my ego was telling me. But my spirit just went ahead and allowed me to make an appointment with the Everglades University, actually, and they were able to show me that I don't need to fear all these kind of things, that they have help for me, and that they'll be supportive for me financially. They help me out to find ways to get loans and things like that. So I just said, I'm just going to jump off the cliff and just go ahead and do it because it's something I've always desired to do, and it's worked out very well for me. That's one place I can tell you.
Well, you stepped off the spiritual cliff. You didn't literally step off the cliff. Although I
Yes.
remember you telling me about that, and it was actually it felt like that because you just had to really have a leap of faith to be able to do this. And that came from that conscious connection that you developed by having, the meditation, asking for guidance, listening to your inner knowing. What a perfect example of finding something within yourself, and seeing it for what it is, and then stepping out in some action and having the opportunity and then to follow through with what you knew because you were being aware and conscious could take that next step. And no advertisement for Everglades University, but a wonderful institution, wonderful programs there. And I've learned listening to you some of the things you've been experiencing. And so you kind of stepped off the education cliff, I guess, into education a little bit more. So that's wonderful to hear.
Oh, thank you.
Well, once we become aware, conscious, and choose, one of the things that, that's an idea. That's just what we've come to recognize. And as you did, you took it a step further. You made a call, you made an appointment, you followed that inner guidance, that awareness. I like to say you followed your consciousness, the guidance of yourself connected to what you believe or trust in, or what you've come to know you can trust within yourself. And it's important as we're becoming aware and conscious and choosing to declare using intentions is a big part of intentions, because if we think about what we want and we kind of put it out there, or we say that would be something I'd like to do, or even take a step. When we start saying this is what we choose and what we choose to create, we put into motion, some spiritual laws like the law of attraction, and we put things into place that start to create that opening and those opportunities for us to be able to see, like your appointment, like your support from the school, and you, I know, also stepping out for you. I remember that decision was about you doing what you needed to do for you. And so many of us have a challenging time with caring about and taking care of, or loving the people that are in our lives, and we sometimes don't do that. But you did that in that place, didn't you?
I did do that, and I'm not going to tell you that was easy, because it's not. So anybody else out there struggling with that, I'm not trying